Am I audible?
Yes.
A very good morning to all the dignitaries of academia and industry. Good morning, Dr. Bala Ramadurai, sir. Distinguished dignitaries, esteemed members of the audience, participants, and colleagues, I once again take the privilege to warmly welcome you all to the second day of the training program on design thinking. Welcome, everyone. I would like to begin the day by recalling Max Planck, the father of quantum theory, who felt that the pioneer scientist must have a vivid, intuitive imagination, for new ideas are not generated by deduction but by artistically creative imagination. And I truly believe that that's what we all are here for, to develop our design thinking capability for creative problem solving, innovation, and success. It uses observation and creativity to understand from a human perspective what is technologically feasible, customer desirable, and economically viable, all from the human perspective. So, from Airbnb to Google, the most successful companies in the world use design thinking. So I believe you all have gained very good insights about design thinking from yesterday's session on the introduction to design thinking, and I hope you all have revived yourselves up to attend today's sessions. Well, let me just reiterate some of the key takeaways of yesterday's sessions. Like, first, the difference we very well remember between the inside out and the outside in approach, the 4 steps of efficient and systematic process of karmic design thinking: empathize, analyze, solve, and test. Then there were many real life illustrations and numerous examples, starting from the images of Ajanta caves and movies, etc. And finally, the analogy, the beautiful analogy of the steps or phases of design thinking with the 4 noble truths: Dukh, Samudya, Nirodha, and Marg. Isn't it amazing? And really mysterious too, a field to dig into. Well, to unravel some more layers and do a bit of deep thinking about design thinking, we have again with us today Dr. Bala Ramadurai, professor at NPTL, our speaker for the first session. Welcome once again, sir, to the FDP. Sir will us today on Introduction to Design Thinking, empathize with your users, which is a key element in design thinking. Now, to those delegates who have probably missed Sir's introduction, I would like to apprise all again that Dr. Bala Ramodarai is an author, coach, consultant, and professor. He has authored a book on design thinking called Karmic Design Thinking. He has 3 patents to his credit and more than 10 publications in international research journals. He co-founded TRIZ Innovation India and is an adjunct professor at Symbiosis Institute of Business Management, India. He currently mentors an edtech enterprise called KE Nonin Electronics, and he's a professor at National Program on Technology Enhanced Learning. He has a PhD from Arizona State University, USA, and a BTech from IIT Madras, India. He was a technology forecasting researcher and designer in the Format project at Politecnico di Milano, Milan, Italy. He was a systematic innovation facilitator at Mindtree Limited, India, where he designed and crafted 5 into 50, that is a key innovation entrepreneurship program. And prior to Mindtree, he was a research scientist at General Electric Global Research, India. His teaching experience includes creative problem-solving courses at IIT Madras, IIT Gandhinagar, IIT Hyderabad, Symbiosis, and IISc Bangalore. His current teaching and consulting areas of focus are design thinking, technology forecasting, inventive problem-solving, entrepreneurship programs. So that was an introduction for those who had missed yesterday's session. May I request Sir to take over the session now?
Sorry. Okay. Thank you so much for your kind introduction, ma'am. So, good morning to everybody. It is great. Thank you so much for your active participation here. Interaction or your questions really make me think. What kind of responses you give also make me think. So I'm really honored to be here. Thanks to the organizers for inviting me and giving me 3 long sessions to interact and to in these experiences. Thank you so much. So I'd like to share my screen. Please let me know once you can see my screen. Hello, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm not able to hear you.
Yes, sir. It is
Okay.
visible.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for the feedback. So today we are with empathize. This you saw yesterday. One of the force design thinking itself. Just a brief recap, like ma'am already summarized. These are the 4 steps that we covered yesterday as by way of to design thinking itself. Easily remembered with the acronym EAST: empathize, analyze, solve, and test. These are the easy to remember EAST. And what we are doing in these are to understand and feel. So, components to the empathize part is to understand at a cognitive level, at an intellectual level, what is that somebody is going through, someone else apart from ourselves. What are they going through? Where are what people who use output. So even if you're not customer facing, because oftentimes that's another question I get is I'm not in a customer facing role. I'm not a salesperson. I'm not a person who goes out to the market and meets people. I work. Like right now I'm working indoors. I'm not interacting with a lot of people. I'm doing it over a long distance. How do I do empathize? So imagine that your output, whatever you produce, whatever you have to offer, is taken up by somebody. It helps somebody. That somebody becomes your customer, whether they're paying for you for it or not. The word customer often is associated with paying, but in our case, it can even be called a user of your output. That's how we refer to these people. So how do we know what they are going through is what we find out in empathize. We understand and feel. So the both the emotion and the intellectual part go hand in hand, and we get it in empathize. For some people this comes naturally. They're empathetic by nature, so for them this is a breeze. But whereas for other people like me, it takes a lot of training. I have to be very conscious of how I'm doing this. I need a structure, I need a method to do this, which is what we will see in this session. This session is primarily dedicated to empathize. If time permits, we will also see if we can cover analyze. Otherwise, we'll spill it over to the next session. So that's primarily empathize, where we see, understand, and feel what our users are going through. Then next we go into analyze, where we unearth the latent and unsaid needs. So these are 2 things that you will hear me say in during analyze. Latent, which means that it's under the surface, it is not said, it's unsaid. Example was yesterday was regarding babies. Customers or users are like babies. Babies, the only thing that they know when anything that they go through is they cry. Okay, so with that crying, we have to figure out: are they hungry? Are they sleepy? Are they bored? they want attention, are they tired? We need to figure this out. So it's always the unsaid need which is the tricky one to figure out, but also the most important. It also turns out to be the most important. That's why everybody is not figuring out everything, because it's so to spend some time, understand what it is. After a while you figure out, oh, baby does this, I know at this time that this is what they're going through. That comes through experience. Same thing with analyze. Some after a while it becomes a unconscious process. Pretty much you can figure out when you see a certain problem, you know this is what is the unsaid need, so you figure that out. That's what we do in analyze. And oftentimes lots of my students, once they figure out what the customer problem is, they directly jump into solve. It is natural to do this. Once you figure out what they are going through, immediately jump to solve, but then you're solving at a very surface level. We want to go deeper to find out what is it that somebody is going through. If a baby is crying, the easiest solution is to stick the pacifier in their mouth, right? That's the analogy. To extend the analogy, empathize to solve is the pacifier. It may not satisfy the hunger, it may not satisfy the sleep, it may not make them get their attention. So we are not solving the problem really. We are not got into the unsaid needs. So that's why we need analysis is equally as important as empathize. Okay. Then once we figure out, of course, after analyze, we can move into solve, where we solve using our own creativity, unbridled creativity, because we know the problem now. It's no longer a guess, it's no longer a random thing. We can use our creativity, sit under a tree, wait for the apple to fall, or oftentimes they say good ideas come in the shower, so that could be a great place. Or some people meditate, some people talk with others. For them, that is a great ideation. And there are lots and lots of tricks and tips to use and solve. So we can use that. Once we have that, we move into the last phase, which is to conceptualize. What is it that we are thinking of in terms of ideas? Usually if you're working in a team, you have 3 or 4 people with different backgrounds, different types of ideologies. They can all come together and form a concept, which we can give it some shape. It could be a document, it could be a PowerPoint presentation, it could be a model, full scale model, or in software it could be a wireframe. It could be a clay model like in the mechanical and engineering world, or it could be a concept document itself. That's the most common form that I've seen in the teaching world. And I've also seen some of my students come up use all sorts of trash that's lying around, like ropes and boxes and strings, and put them all together to represent their idea. That's what we're doing in the first half of test. And then finally, of course, we need to take them back to our audience, our own test audience. So which is why it's cyclical. That's the whole karmic nature of how design thinking works, is we go back into empathize. We take our concepts back to people to see if it really works for them, because oftentimes you get it wrong. One of the questions asked yesterday was, where can design thinking go wrong? One of the places is here, that we assume that now that I've thought of the solution, I've analyzed it well, it should work, right? Let's release it to the market. Nope, it's not the end of the journey. We have to go back, empathize with our users again, see if it really works for them, and then the cycle starts all over again. So it's a lot of work, it's a lot of time spent, it's a lot of resources spent. So the problem has to be well worth your time. Your so the passion kicks in. You should be passionate about the problem you're trying to solve. Like we saw Doug Dietz yesterday, who was solving the MRI for kids. So he put his entire heart and soul behind the problem that he saw. You saw John Fowler quit his high performing company, and he started his own company from scratch in order to satisfy some problem in a neighboring country. So things like that could happen. So it should be well worth your while to embark on design thinking. So it's statistically some numbers. It's found that about 4 out of 5 problems don't really need design thinking. Okay, so which means that we are fine without this construct of design thinking 4 out of 5 times. So for example, you're trying to go from one place to another. You don't really need to sit and empathize and find out what's all going on in this path from here to your store, right? So there we can, or if you're picking an application for like we're using a particular software for communication, we don't need to actually start empathizing and getting all sorts of requirements for this. All we need is a few basic requirements, and we have so many off the shelf solutions. We can start working on it. So 4 out of 5 times, we don't really need this kind of a large giant project. But think about after a while, again, so this is the long term perspective, is after a while it becomes second nature to you. You're not thinking of it as a separate project, but it's actually ingrained in yourself. That's when it doesn't become a conscious project itself that you're doing, but it becomes part of who you are. So that's as far as the recap goes. Today we are going, like I said, we're going to focus on empathize. This session is dedicated to empathize. If time permits, we will also do some bits of analyze, and then in the last session we'll do the remainder, or we'll just focus on empathize. Let's see. So we'll start with the lady in pink here in the center of your screen. This is a very common scenario in my city, not only during the pandemic times, even prior to that. In fact, I'm told it's there for a while, even when these ladies used to go in bicycles, they used to be dressed up like this. Okay, so I found it fascinating when I moved to this city about 5 years ago. Um, like 6 years ago, sorry, I have to update myself. So it's about 6 years ago when I came to the city. I found it to be quite intriguing that they wear this. So I, in a bit of enthusiasm, I borrowed my wife's scarves, one of these long scarves that you can find, and I said I'm going to wear it exactly like this lady here in pink. And I tried doing this, knotted, and I was in a complete mess. My wife looked at it and said, "What's going on? What's wrong with you?" And I said, "Well, I'm trying to empathize, so bear with me." Okay. So then one fine day, I saw another 6-year-old girl with a scarf like this. 2 seconds flat, she wore it exactly like her mom. Similar to the lady that you see. I was amazed. Wow, it took me. And I tried so many times, I just couldn't get it. And this here's a 6-year-old who gets it so quickly, easily. So then I started wondering. Uh, it's such a high skill, that this lady has mastered. But how come she can't spend another 2 seconds and wear a head protection device, helmet, to protect herself from a fall, from a two-wheeler ride like that? So that laid the foundation for a project that I worked on, and I said, I have to figure this out. I'm really annoyed with the fact that they do this. They spend a lot of time. I mean, they've obviously acquired this skill. They do it every day. In fact, I don't know about your cities, but in this city they also wear something. Right now, of course, it's cold, but even in the peak of summer, when it's about 40 something degrees C, people wear, particularly women, wear these full sleeve, or what's called a skin coat or something like that. I don't know the exact term, but they wear this blistering heat outside, and they're wearing this to cover themselves. Sometimes I've seen them wear sweatshirts, and I'm like, wow, how do they do this? Apparently there is a reason. Okay, so that's what I. So obviously, if I want to solve a problem for this person right here in the center of his screen, I need to really understand and also feel what this lady is going through. So two things that's not working in my favor when I'm trying to empathize with them. One is I am obviously not a lady. Two is I don't drive a two-wheeler, right? So how am I ever going to empathize with this person? So that's one of my challenges. So it turns out that in empathize there is a tool, a method called customer journey mapping. Okay, like I remarked earlier, customer is a person who uses the output of whatever you're doing. Okay, so but the tool is called customer journey mapping. What we are trying to do is We are trying to shadow this person as if we had a camera attached to this person, and seeing what they're going through when we are trying to solve problems for them, when we are trying to make their lives better. Okay, so this is what we are trying to do in a customer journey map. And even if I am not the same age bracket as this person, I'm not the same gender, I'm not in the same location. Even in this case, I happen to be in the same location. But even if you're not in the same location, you can still track their journey and find out what is it in terms of understanding and feeling. Okay, that's the customer journey map. So I did this for a lady in based out of Pune. I gave her a name, and of course I didn't pick that was a representative picture, but what I picked eventually was this lady called Mrs. Avni. Okay, it's a fictitious person. She's 35 years old. She lives in Pune. Okay, so now I've given my character name, an age, a location. Okay, and I have described it in terms of an activity. Okay, what is she trying to accomplish in this activity? Where are we trying to help her out? Okay, the activity is going to the workplace by scooter. As simple as that. So it's simple, right? So in that, the first, if you look at the main activity, there is a before say. So if you we are dividing that broadly into three sections. Okay, so the before, during, and after. So that's what we. So before, in the before stage, we have three steps here. She's the mom, okay, 35-year-old mom, Mrs. Avni. She and dad pack lunch for kids and themselves. She's not too happy doing that because it's a hurry-burry sort of thing actually that he has to do along with dad. Dad, if he was anything like me, would mess things up. Things would be so messy that mom is not so happy about that also. Okay, then in step two, mom gets kids ready to go to school. So there's no emotion in this. Just they have to get ready. Off they go. Okay. Finally, she gets to the parking spot in which she has parked her scooter, and she puts on her scarf, which is she's very skilled at, and wears a helmet on top. My character wears the helmet. Okay, so that we find out what's wrong with that itself. So I made her wear a helmet. So we were tracking users, people who are wearing a helmet along with the scarf. So that was our segment of people whom we found out, we observed, and found out all these insights from. Okay, in the second part, which is during. So this is the second section of the customer journey map. Mrs. Avni, she gets the scooter out of the garage. Okay, again, no big feelings in this. In step five, this is I realized is the main reason for why she wears that scarf and the skin coat is mom rides in traffic exposed to sunlight, heat, and dust, and she is not happy with this situation. Okay, so finds that this is too intense for her to handle the sunlight, the heat, and the dust, and that's why she has to wrap herself up. And the sunlight, she doesn't want her skin exposed to the sunlight. I didn't know any of this. I had absolutely no clue. I was clueless. So, but I figured this out through my observation, through talking to people who were writing this, and we could put this. Of course, some of my students helped me with this as well. Some surveys, some perceptions, all that we figured out and put it in the form that you see. In step six, she stops at several places. We asked her, "Do you stop at several places?" She said no. But observations, what do we find? She actually stops at several places, adjusts her hair and clothes. So asking the customer what they want, what is their problem, what is their trouble, usually they end up omitting so many things. They just go wah wah wah, this is not good, that is not good, like babies. But eventually it's something else which is the botheration. So for her, adjusting her hair and clothes is definitely a botheration, and that's what we found through observation, and she's not happy about that either. So turns out when she has to stop at the signal, she looks in the mirror and adjusts herself. So these are all insights and observations that come out of looking at the customer in person while they are doing the activity. Okay, and finally, in after uh, the mom parks the bike in the parking spot. Okay, this was another insight that I didn't know either. In fact, I have found it difficult myself, but I never realized that everybody had the same problem, which is parking the scooter. It says bike, but scooter bike in the parking spot. Okay, why? Because if you take your two-wheeler to an office garage, okay, there you will find that you can't leave it in side stand because it takes too much space. So, and there is a space crunch there, so you have to put it on the main stand. It's really tricky with the heavy engine at the back. It's difficult to get the scooter on the main stand. So with vehicles parked on the side, you don't have enough space to go yourself. Either they ask the bhaiya to help, or they struggle and do this. Definitely not a happy situation. Okay, so this is something that I have gone through and never thought she was also going through this. So this is another insight that came through sheer observation. And these are details that the customer usually skips over. So they go to the big ones, but the small ones they definitely skip over. Mom takes off her helmet and scarf, no emotions, just as a matter of routine. And then finally, she walks to the office entrance. So she is ready to go for a work day. Okay, so in here she is very happy because she's reached location. She's ready for a work day. Okay, so these 9 steps tell us what her journey was. It was as if we had a camera attached to her and we could actually track her. In fact, the company IDEO, which popularized the design thinking methodology from, I don't know, 80s, they actually strapped a camera onto the temple of a person, and they went through a procedure to find out what is it that a typical customer goes through. So people do that thing and then watch the video later on. You can do that too. If you cannot, you can do plain observation through notes and through writing down stuff while observing your audience. Okay, so what did we learn from this? That's even more important, right? So there are a list of problems that comes out in this case. In all the few steps that we saw in our customer journey map, one of the primary one that I didn't know about and I figured out was vehicle was difficult to park. Definitely a problem that this person had. The second problem, of course, this I knew that there was a problem, but what is the problem that the customer is facing came out of observation again. Heat, dust, and sunlight is definitely a cause of concern while riding. Okay, so this is something that we found out. Now, what shall we do with these problems? So we frame it in the form of a question. So this is something that you will find in design thinking people often do, is frame it in the form of a question. Okay. Now take the same list of problems and make question, and we add this phrase called how might we. Okay, it always starts with how might we, or HMW for short, HMW. Okay, so how might we protect the lady from heat, dust, and sunlight, or Mrs. Avni from heat, dust, and sunlight while riding a two-wheeler and wearing a helmet? Okay, so that is one of the objectives of our project. So we could take that as an objective that we want out of this project. So that is one thing. Now, the advantage of using such a statement could also be that the summing up our observations, our insights, our customer journey map into one mission statement like this, so that any new members who are joining in probably skip the whole empathize. They don't know what you guys did in observation. They take one look at the statement and they know what we are trying to achieve here. Okay, and mind you, this is bound to change. This is not written in stone. We don't have to stick for it throughout the project. It keeps, as we learn more about our customer or user, we write and rewrite and rewrite. I don't know, even this one came out of 3 or 4 attempts at writing it itself. There are some challenges in writing a how might we. The second how might we was how might we make the vehicle easy to park. Okay, so these are two statements that came out of our observation of our customer, and listing down the problems where they were not too happy. We understand from a cognitive level as well as an emotional level what is really happening. Right? Yeah. So left is what they associate with analytical, right side of the hemisphere is what they associate with emotional. So emotionally and intellectually, we understand these problems and we feel that they have a problem that we can solve. Okay. So we write this down. Now there is you can sort of sum it up the stages into a few steps that we have. Is first create a persona. Okay, so you can do all your field studies. Okay, and think of this one person who sort of symbolizes your group of people. Now we need to have a fictitious name so that we can find out whether it's what the gender of this person is. Because if I put a man instead of Mrs. Avni, if it was I don't know, Mr. Anil, then his experiences are completely different, and what they go through is completely different from Mrs. Avni. Okay, so what their situation is completely different. So we need that information there. We need an age, because again, an 18-year-old going through this information will be very different. This experience will be very different from our 35-year-old Mrs. Amni. And location. So what's true about Pune is not true about Delhi, which is not true about Kolkata, which is not true about Chennai. So right, so these are all varied in experiences. So we need this information. We need this fictitious sort of person who will guide us through the story, like a protagonist in a movie. We need this character. We need to understand what's going on, and these are the people who will lead us through the story itself. Okay, so customer journey mapping is no different from storytelling. Yeah, as you will see, as you saw, and I was narrating a story of although a boring story of Mrs. Avni, but a story all the same. Okay, now write the major steps of the customer experience. So we saw the steps of experience that Mrs. Avni went through, divided into before, during, and after. So these are the steps that we did. You can mark the emotional highs and lows using a smiley and a sad face, a very simple one. My students even go, to the next level and say, "Oh, they are angry, they're frustrated, they're elated, they're all that they make up." But I would say just start off tracking: are they sad? Are they happy? It's easy to figure this out. Or they're not feeling anything. That's the third state, right? So you're indifferent. I'm getting off a bus. What emotion could be there in getting off a bus, right? So that could be a flat one in terms of emotion. So mark that. Then, of course, this is the fun part of it, to list down all the problems that they have. Many times I find that my students find this part to be the easiest. Creating a persona, it's fun, so they do it. But writing the major step seems to be like we have to be exhaustive. We have to think about lots of things. You have to make observations. You have to classify all this. But writing it on a list of problems, they're very happy to do that. Okay. Finally, draft 2 to 3 how might we statements. Again, a trick here in how might we, I don't know what if it's a trick. It's a tip rather, that frame it in such a way that the problem is broad enough that you can get many solutions to the problem. Not just one or two, but many solutions are possible. But you have to be narrow enough that it's still a solvable problem, and not, oh, how might we make her life the best ever, or how might we make her famous. Okay, something as grandiose as that will be difficult to solve. Okay, so that's too broad. Whereas how might we make the uh, now you're very specific. You're actually in fact hinting at a solution, which is you're confining yourself to just one solution. So this is an art. I don't think I have an exact scientific way to frame a how might we, although I know some of my friends who come up with me it's too complex. So this is, try it out, as many times as you can, as many times you give it your shot, and see what you can come up with. So that would be my advice to you. Okay, so here we will, like I promised you yesterday, this is more of a workshop rather than me talking and you listening. So we will actually apply it. in the time we have, in the remainder of the time we have, you can pick one of these mock scenarios that I show you on screen. You could pick a target customer, and out of by the way, apologies. Yesterday, I'd assumed that all of you are faculty in our midst, and turns out some of you are not. So I'm sorry, because it says faculty development program. I assumed that my target persona is all faculty. Okay, so if you can't relate to the specific questions for your target, I mean, for what is of concern to you in particular. But I'm going to assume that my target persona is a faculty in a college. Okay, so so here we're going to look at an out of town student or a principal or head of your organization itself. If you're a principal or a head of your organization, don't take this up, take something else. A cleaner or a guard in your organization, a local student, or a dignitary visiting your org. So when I gave this to one of the they just picked dignitary and interviewed me and said, what did you do about this, what did you do about that turned out to be a fun exercise. At least for me it was. So you could pick one of these or pick your own. Okay, these are scenarios that, but they're realistic enough that you would definitely have come across at least one or more of these target customers. So imagine them to be your customers. Pick a scenario for yourselves for our workshop today. Okay, uh, listening. Now you're going to be the one who is going to actually do stuff. So first is to pick one mock scenario that you saw. Of course, I'll pass on these slides to you in a short while, maybe in a minute or two. After I'm done with this slide, I'll just scenarios I showed to you and pick one of them to start off. Or you can come up with your own scenario if you don't find any of them to be relevant or interesting. You can pick your own scenario. Draw a customer journey map. Draw pictures if you want. Entirely up to you. Even stick like this, even those are good enough. I know many of you may be cringing at, oh, drawing me, no, hell no. So I'm one of those people. So I stay away from drawing as much as I can. But draw a customer journey map with pictures if you can. Your customer, after the journey map is done, list the problems of your customer. Mark the emotional highs and lows on your map using a smiley and a sad face. Write down 2 to 3 how might we statements for your particular problem, for what you've listed. At this stage, do not bring in any solutions. We are not interested in any solutions so far, because these are still, you will say, oh, my, the baby is crying, it's, and you're going to give up a pacifier as a solution. This is of no use to your customer, because it does for their boredom or their tired, being tired problem. You're just solving the crying problem, right? So do not propose a solution. That's my tip. Of course, if you want to go ahead and do that, that's up to you, but I would refrain from offering a solution at this point of time. And with my customer, be open minded. You might find something that you were not aware of in your customer. Okay, the slides are available here in this. I will just copy this and put it in the chat window. Just give me a minute. Biggest sort of file from, oh, what happened? Biggest sort of file, it takes a while to load. Just be a bit patient and you will, let me click and see how long it takes to load. I think it takes, if not, it depends on your internet speed. I think it's close to 3 MB in total. Okay, it's still loading. Yeah, it's close to a minute. It takes a minute to load at least. Uh-huh. Okay. So after it's loaded, copy the URL. Looks like I have to click the URL again. No, it's make sure that the hash slide slash empathize it there at the slides. Use the arrows, or if you're on a mobile, you can swipe down and you will see all the slides. On a mobile device, I think swipe works, uh, and you can go. Or if you're on a keyboard, press N, downward arrows, and it should take you to the slide. Okay. Or the third way to do it is click on those three bars you see on this side here, and then it can take you to the right slide. That is all this. If you keep pressing the downward arrow, you will see all of it, what you need to be doing. You can check out the slides. You can do all of this. Okay. So it's your turn now. It's 10:45 by 10:46 by my watch. Minutes. Is that all the time we have for now? No, we have till 11:30, right? So take about 10 to 15 minutes. I will ping at around 10:55 to see if you need any help. You can of course use the chat via chat. Also, we can do that. Please do let me know if there are any problems that you have in accessing the slide, the information on the slide. Oh, for some reason, this hash slash slide in the link. It'll take a while, ma'am, for this link to open up. It's about 3 MB, depends on your internet connection. It'll take about roughly a minute or two, or even longer if your internet connection is slower. Okay, there is a question. The source of the statistics, 4 out of 5. Okay, I will let you know soon. Yes, got it, got it. Can you paste the link again? Sure, I can. So just see, not highlighting the hash slash. Just copy the link and paste it instead of clicking it directly. If you can copy it and paste it into a browser, it should work. It will take you directly to the slide. Is it possible to download these slides? I'm afraid not. These are HTML slides. These are quite tricky to download. Okay, I suppose people are able to access it. If you have any trouble, please let me know. Um, okay, many people are saying got it. Good. Okay, so that's going to be minutes. I'll be on mute, but I'm accessible on the chat. Uh, definitely help you out. o'clock. Please do let me know if you need some more time or many of you are done. If you're done, please let me know via chat also. Okay, some of you have finished it. Excellent. Nice. Done. Okay. Done. Okay. I'll wait for some more time. Okay. Wow. Okay. Many of you are saying done. How many do we have? How many of us are here? Okay. Let's see. I'll wait for some more time because a lot more than 4 or 5. Nice. Nice. Thank you. Like many of you are done. 2 more minutes. That's what my son says every time. Okay, sure. You can take your 2 minutes. Okay. Yes, ma'am. You can take 2 more minutes for sure. Can you say who was your target customer that you picked? Which scenario you picked? Just for curiosity, I want to know. It'll be great to share that if you can, if you want to. It's entirely okay. A local student, head of department, security. Okay, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Plus size female, out of town student, guard in my org, out of town student. Okay. What height driving car? That's a good one. Okay. Local students, state students. Okay. 4 people on one bike. That's funny. Out of what is the middle two? Yeah, an ideal one. You can't hold on to anything, and you don't know when you're going to fall off. You're just hoping that somebody is holding you, and the guy is the person in the front is riding all right. Okay, out of town student. Okay, nice. There's Swiggy driver. Wow, that's a new one. Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so students switch from offline to online learning. Yeah, very pertinent in the last uh, 3-4 months. Thank you for that. Okay, so for, I'll just give 1 more minute. Actually, I'll give 2 more minutes. 11:05 will start. Mins with masks. I don't know what mins means. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, moms with masks. Okay, interesting. Thank you. That is an interesting one, sir. Faculty coming to college. I haven't done that yet. I'm still online modes. I have no idea what it would feel like. Faculty. That's a good one. Okay. Any other different ones compared to what we already have? Local student and out of student seem to be the most popular. One person was Spider. Okay, you picked my favorite also. Okay, thank you. Just picked up anything. Kids attending online classes. Okay, nice, nice, very nice. Okay. PhD students who wanted to. Okay, one last one, and then we will start off with the next one. Um, anybody else has any other type of persona or I mean, sorry, yeah, scenario, some different kind of scenario. wide variety of customers we have picked. The food boy. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for sharing this with me and with all of us. Thank you so much. So now, most of us, let's say, majority of, but I'm still going to, I don't want to evaluate teachers' work because you yourself are masters of your domain. So we'll have to do self-evaluation. You're the best evaluator. So we're going to do self-evaluation of what we 250 odd people who have done their assignments. We will do self evaluation. I will give points, marks for things that you did and shouldn't do, and you've done it or you've not done, and you're supposed to do it. Okay, so let's see. So take your customer journey or in a piece of paper. Just take that for reference. Give yourself 1 mark if you have named and also given an age for your customer. Okay, 1 mark for a name, or even if you say a lady, but I definitely need an age. You can't just say kids. You can't just say students. I need an age. Not even a range. Range is also no good, because when you say 40 to 50, that's a lot of people. With so much of age. Okay, so give yourself 1 mark for name and age of a customer. Okay, your name and age of a customer. So that's going to be 1 mark. Uh, 1 mark if you have a location of a customer. If you have said particularly, give yourself 1 mark. But if you've named that, if you just said worldwide, or if you've not done it, take 1 mark away from yourself. Okay, 1 mark for location of customer, city, village, town. So that and I want a specific name, not just city people, okay, or village folks, rural. That's too broad. I mean, that's like what, 100, how many are we? 60-70% of villages. I don't know what the latest number is, but it's quite a city. Even city is a huge one, but still we will take that, because it's then you have to be very very specific in one locality in a city. It's going to be very difficult for you to conduct your studies. Okay, so that's why we stick to cities. 1 mark for writing down the main activity of the tracking. Okay, that is important, because otherwise you don't know where you're trying to solve. It becomes too broad. Are they coming to town? Are they enrolling? Are they delivering food? Are they wearing masks? Are they attending English period in online classes, or engineering mathematics in online class? Let's see, or PhD conducting an online, dignitary visiting. So dignitary arriving at our place. So try to be specific as to what they're trying to do, what our customer is trying to do. Okay, so give yourself 1 mark for that. One for dividing the customer journey map into 3 sections: before, during, and after. So if you've done before, 1 mark; after, one more. So you get 1, 1, 1. So how many do we have totally so far? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 so far. Okay. So in your customer journey map, if you have clear sections of before, during, and after, this way you will know what is the main activity, and what. Lots of times we focus only on the activity, that we forget that they prep for that, or they have a thing that they do after the activity also. It's also equally important. We need to know the full story, not just the story when they're doing the activity. So that's why you divide into before, during, and after. Okay. A smiley or a saddy. Okay, the smiling face or a saddy face. Or if you've even written down saying happy or sad or aggressive or frustrated or whatever. CJM is customer journey map. This is the first time I use the acronym here. So customer journey map is what we've been. 1 mark. If you have a sad face or a smiley face, at least even one somewhere. You've done some emotional mapping. Okay, you need to give yourself 1 mark. Even one, if you find, give yourself a mark. Be lenient on yourself. Okay, don't be the tough teacher. That, okay, be nice to yourself. Okay, so that's 7 so far. 1 mark for listing the problems. I'm sure all of you have sailed on this. This is an easy one for you, for many of us. Okay, listing down the problems. This is an easy one because we understand. I mean, the problems is one. I think one of the easiest to do. I'll give yourself 1 mark for listing the problems. So how many do we have? 3, 6, 8 so far. 8 marks so far awarded. Let's see. Let me just check the chat if anybody has 1 mark for even one how might we question if you got it at the end of it. Now that you listed the problem, but we need to follow it up with at least one how might we question. Okay, if you have at least one how might we question, give yourself 1 mark. Mark number 9. Okay, 1 mark for how might we question. So this is the statement for our project, design thinking project that we're going to take ahead. What is it that we need to be doing in the project itself? What's our project goal? That's what is in how might one coming up, and I think it's equally critical. If you haven't listed any solutions, this is a negative way of looking at it. If you haven't listed any solutions at all and you've been open-minded about what is the customer going through, give yourself 1 mark. But if you've written saying, "Oh, they should an app to solve this," or something like that, then don't give yourself that 1 mark. Okay, give yourself if you have not listed any solutions. Okay, so that's a total of 10. Now you can oh wow, amazing. I was just going to request, if it is okay with you, go ahead and share the marks. And here I come to the chat and it's flooded with marks, people who want to share their marks. That's amazing. Thank you so much for doing that. You're a great sport. This is really amazing. Okay, 7, 7, 8, 9, 5. Many of you have done this exercise. Nice. And there's one last thing you should do. Whatever the marks, take a hand like this and pat yourself on the back for doing such a good job. A map and grading yourself, not easy. Okay, you know how difficult it is, right? So do this to yourself. Pat yourself on the back. Okay, did that too. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing this, for being a sport. Okay. So now this was our customer journey map. The more you do this, in case you were able to get marks, that means you really got it. Doesn't mean a low mark doesn't. There are a few points that there are so many things to do in a customer journey map. Do this many times and this becomes a natural. Like many other things, skills that we picked up, this is another skill to pick up. For me it was a tough one to remember so many things, but I thought of it like a I want to see what is it that they're going through, the ups and downs, what is going on in and pictographically done. When you do that and stick it on a wall like this, it looks amazing. You can stick it all and show it to somebody as a story, guide them to the story. It's amazing. Questions itself and refrain from solutions for now. Okay. So let's move on to the yes, total your score out of 10, which all of you have done and shared. Thank you so much again for sharing that. Okay, advance warning. I know this is up home. We're taking it up. So I want to give advance warning for. I want to take. This is a practice I have with all my sessions. I take a group picture with all of us smiling at the camera, and this is for me to treasure. I don't share it with the outside world. I don't go on Facebook. keep in memory of a wonderful session that we've had. So next session, somewhere at the end, we'll have a screen capture in place of a smiley or a selfie or a camera. We do it with a computer, a screen capture. I would the camera on, so you have now until I think 1:30 to dress yourself up or whatever, move the location so that we can take a picture of you, the best version of you. Okay, so this is an advanced warning, so that we will do a screen. Okay, now we move on to analyze. You have a little bit of time. I'll just open up this, and the exercises we will do it in the next session of analyze. Okay, so as you probably imagined, in empathize, we found out lots of things that our users are not happy. If any of you have any questions or anything, no camera not available, so sorry. It's okay. You have your name. Make sure that you have your name there. Or if I don't know how to upload a picture of yourself, just figure that out if you can do it. Even, and we should be able to grab that also. Okay. uh, Thanks for the kind words. Okay, analysis, we're going to analyze, as I said, this is as important as empathize, a follow-up to empathize, because we figure out why is the baby crying. Many of you have seen this example in my NPTEL course. This is a refresher for many of you who have taken my course, but for others, here we go. Okay, this is a one situation that I found in my class. Students come on time. That's lucky for you. I had a student who used to come to class regularly late. Regularly, absolutely. You could take your watch and mark. You can count it exactly. If a 9 o'clock class, he was very regular at coming late to class. So I said, what's happening here? I just wanted to find out. So this is the first tool we use in analysis called multi-why analysis. Let me go back a bit. Multi-whys are basically a probing. It's sometimes called root cause analysis. We do in Toyota in the 1970s made it very popular in the shop floor. Since then, people have used it all across. You would see kids are naturally adapted to this. They ask so many why questions, kids, and have interacted with them. Remember this as being one of the most challenging phases, because oftentimes we do not know the reason, and they keep asking why after why after why. And this is exactly what this tool is all about. We ask why a number of times, as many times as we can, and get to. Okay. So why does the student come to class late regularly? This student of mine, he kept coming to class 9:30 sharp for a 9 a.m. class. So I became curious. I cornered him once and I asked him, "So, dude, why do you come to class late?" And you can imagine what his answer was. He said, "Sir, I woke up late, so I am here late." So I said, "Okay." So what I did was I used um, a plot. Okay, this is the only plot set class, so don't worry if you're not comfortable with plots, graphs. Here is one. Okay, so it is a simple one. Okay, what he told me was that when he woke up late, okay, the data point is here. He woke up late. He This is 8 to 9 standard maths. So the hour of waking up is late as the variable we have. I'm assuming the student can actually change this, that when he woke up late, he came to class, he woke up early by some chance, by some quirk of fate. He did wake up early. The assumption is that he would have come on time to class. For a 9 a.m. class, he woke up at 9 o'clock, so he came late. And I said, okay, that's came late to class because you woke up late. But I wasn't happy. I said, can you tell me why you woke up late? Is there a reason, or it's just that you're a lazy bum and that's why you woke up late?
Hello, sir. Can you hear me? Hello, sir. Can you hear me? Hello, Bala, sir. Can you hear me?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes.
Okay, great. So I just switched networks. Thank you for pointing that out. Thank you so much. Really helps. I wasn't looking at the chat window then, and I didn't realize. Anyway, so I'll just share this again. I don't know which part you missed. So the student said he was. I mean, I've been waking up late. I've been going to bed late, and that's why I'm late to class. So that was his second level of reasoning. If you go one level deeper, and I asked him, "Why are you going to bed late?" He said, "Sir, you give me so many deadlines for this course, and that's why I have to stay up late." So too many deadlines seem to be the reason. Many deadlines, he said, if I give many deadlines to him, he stays up late in order to finish them, and then he wakes up late and he comes to class late. So that was his line of reasoning. So the assumption being that if I give fewer deadlines, he would start showing up on time to class. So that's my understanding now of what the problem really was, right? So we've gone three levels. Now I can question saying, why am I giving so many deadlines to courses? Because this is now out of the student's realm. I have been giving him 6 or 7 deadlines, and that's why he has to stay up late. And it's not. And then I found out that it's not only me who's giving many deadlines, but there are other courses that this student has taken up, and so he has some, at least every week he has 4 or 5 deadlines. He has to satisfy all of them, and that's why he ends up staying up late, and he wakes up late, and he comes to class late as well. So I would never have known about this deadline issue. And this is just one line of reasoning, right? As we imagine, there are more lines of reasoning. If I hadn't known about the fact that there are many deadlines, I would have just said, hey, wake up early, and that should solve the problem, or go to bed early, that should solve the problem. Okay, even though I'm not sure, because I have too many deadlines. Now I question, why am I giving so many deadlines? Can't I just give one deadline and be done with it? Turns out I'm asked by my administration, my management, saying, can you give at least 4 components or at least 6 components assignments, and that's how we evaluate. Okay, so it goes down to now the syllabus and the curriculum and all that stuff, which is like way out of my control. So now I look at it, how might we, so at each stage, if you realize how might we question changes. So let's go to the next one. So if you look at it, this is all related, right? So each question leads to the next question. Why did the student come late to class? Because he woke up late. The student woke up late because they slept late. Because why did they sleep late? Because they have so many course deadlines. Now at each stage we can actually have a how might we make the student come to class on time? How might we wake up the student early? How might we make the student go to bed early? So you can see that more fundamental reasons are coming out in this. How might we give them lesser course deadlines? Okay, so this is where it's all boiling down to, in trying to identify the root cause of a problem. Okay, so this is a sort of problem that you and I can relate to. There's another problem that one of my students, he was an intern at a two-wheeler manufacturer, and he told me that, sir, direct revenue from servicing is very low. And I said, okay, now that I know how multiwise work, I asked him, so why is the direct revenue from automobile servicing very low? He told me that, sir, the customer visits are very low. So fewer customer visits meant low revenue. So I said, is it possible that somehow there are some situations where the number of visits is high? Does it mean the revenue is high? He said, yes, this is true, because we had a labor free promotion week where we said no labor charges. Suddenly lots of customers showed up, and then the revenue went up. So what you're saying is true. So I said, okay, so which means my plot is all right. So which is, then I asked him, so how come the customer visits are low? Is there a particular reason? He said, sir, the what happens is, after, particularly is talking about people who own automobile, I mean in this case two wheelers, which are older than 2 years old, so I'm sorry, 3 years old. Their those warranty period gets off, and they said, man, I have to travel such a long distance to go to the workshop just to get my servicing done. They'll get it done with a local guy, okay, a local person. I will just get it with a local mechanic. They said, okay. So what the student told me was that if the distance is large between the workshop and the customer location, they seem to sort of have low revenues now. Okay, but on the other hand, I asked him, so is this true that if your customer lives nearby the workshop, do they go with the workshop or they still go with the local person? They said, yes, it's true. If they live nearby, like 2 to 3 kilometers, we always found that they come to the workshop. And then the revenue from those people is pretty high. So what your assumption is absolutely true. So we found out. So in this case, the how might we reduce the distance between the workshop and customer location in order to increase the revenue from our servicing. So at every stage, the how might we changes. The how might we that we started out with in from a list of problems, when we do our analysis, it changes to a deeper and deeper problem. Now here's the neat thing. Okay, even in our previous example, if you see, if I solve problem at a deeper level, I actually end up solving the problem even at a higher level. Suppose this is the assumption, of course. If I solve the course deadline problem, I'm able to make him. I mean, at least that reason goes away. It's just still. Student did give me other excuses like, oh, sir, the cycle tire was punctured, the cat crossed the road. He gave me also that I can't solve. At least this I can solve, and one line of reasoning is definitely solved. So that's the neat thing about going into the deeper level of problem itself. So when we get back, it's almost 11:30. When we get back, we will continue this, and it will be your turn to take up the same case that you picked up in the customer journey map, and we'll do a multi-way analysis. Or if you have the time, you can do the same thing when we are done. When we get back, you can be ready for your self-evaluation as we did. Okay, so that's it
Yes, sir.
from me for this session. We'll see you at 12 o'clock.
Thank you, sir, for that wonderful session, sir, in fact, on customer journey mapping and the steps of the same, about how might we statements, and the marks distribution was fabulous, like in finding out the workable solutions, because we are stuck at the solution level. And really in understanding the concept of empathy, and finally concluding the session with that case study. It was really awesome session, sir, to be honest. And
Thank you.
really, and like there is another level also, probably you can just address later on, like
Sure.
how important is self empathy in the overall empathy. So we can go to that, or you can just talk
Sure.
about that later,
Sure.
because
Definitely. When we get back, I'll start with this question, ma'am. Thank you for that question.
so, and thank you once again, sir, for that enlightening talk of the first session. And I thank all the delegates for joining with such energy, as seen by their
Exactly.
active participation. I mean, that was great. I mean,
Amazing.
and really, and they have done the case study so well, and with the marks and all. It was a good treat for all of us early in the morning. So, we'll join again after a
At
short break at
Yes,
12 p.m.
yes. At noon, I will see you all. Thank you so much again.
Till
So,
then, bye. Bye,
bye.
everyone.
Bye,
Thank you so
everyone.
much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Sir, there are 4 hand raisers. Can we take those
Yeah,
questions?
if you're okay, I can be around. Not an issue. Yeah, please go ahead.
There is uh, Meenu Mehta, madam. Please unmute yourself and you put
Yes,
your
ma'am.
question.
Not
Meenu
able
Mehta,
to
madam.
unmute.
Madam Meenu, could you please unmute and say your question?
She says she can't unmute.
Yes, yes, please.
Yes,
Am I
you're
on?
able.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes, yes.
Loud and clear.
Thank you so much. Bala sir, I want to know something. As your student of design thinking, now that I have understood how to
Okay.
tackle a problem, kindly let me know how to take senior management on board in explaining to them the importance of people first.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay, I'll take that question. Just hang on to this question till we do the next one in analysis. If it's not addressed, please remind me. I will come back to that question. It's a great question to ask, and I think the answer is in the next module. But if I still haven't answered your question through that module, please do let me know. I will definitely come back to that. I still have self empathy and senior management. Two questions to answer.
I think we have another question from Janki Ram.
Yes, please.
Could you please unmute Janki Ram, sir?
Mic
Sir,
is
good morning, sir.
connected. Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, we can
Yes,
hear
you
you.
may speak, please.
Sir, I'm Janakiram from Andhra Pradesh.
Yes, sir. Please let me know.
When there is a R&D department in all organizations, at least main organizations, how does design thinking helps beyond the R&D department?
So the question is, how does design thinking help beyond R&D? I didn't quite get it. That is, any other department apart from R&D, or once you're done with R&D, now what? Does design thinking help?
R&D is meant for innovation and
Okay.
bringing new thoughts and new products, no, sir.
Yes.
And design thinking also for innovation. Now,
Okay.
how do you? How does it design thinking uh, be much broader or greater than R&D?
Okay. Fair enough. This is um, so in R&D, research and development. Primarily, the focus is on addressing problems, addressing new features, addressing scalable solutions. I'm talking about in a let's say take two contexts, because there perspectives are completely different. One of them is within a company, a private company, addressing a company's own R&D initiative, research and development initiative. Okay, so that's one where the motives are different, the setting is different, and the time horizon is different. Compare that to a research and development, say in a academic setting, research and development for um, funding from a government agency or not-for-profit organization. So those are two completely different settings itself. So in there, the in a company setting, the innovation there means that the ideas that a company may have, the ideas that they're trying to protect, the ideas that they come out with, inventions that have been generated. Now, how do you make that scalable? How do you make sure that it's usable for a customer in their own setting? How do we make sure that it is just not working at a lab scale? We found that out, but how can it be addressed? How do we manufacture it? How do we scale this up? How do we how do we distribute that? Once the distribution comes, how do we provide warranty support? How do we make sure that there are further features down the downstream in the next generation? What is the path ahead? All these start coming in, and in each stage you can see that there are people involved, right? So in scale, there are only these scientists and engineers who are involved, or people who are looking at it from a product or a service perspective alone are involved. So it's very, very product and service centric, less of design thinking, so to speak. But once you step out of that, how is it going to go into the next levels in a scale up mode? How are people going to manufacture this? Like what the previous question was about senior management, all those questions start coming in. What about manufacturing? What about distribution? What about sales? What about marketing? What about warranty? All that involves human beings, and there in each place there is design thinking set up, because anytime you interact with human beings, you need to look at it from their perspective. That immediately design thinking kicks in. Okay, that's the let's say the empathy part alone is what I'm talking about. Going back to the academic setup, there it's a little more open-ended. The time horizons are longer. Scale up is not entirely up to the academic organization, although some academic organizations do set up a startup so that they can also commercialize it. Also, there are some startups where some academia which also do that. Wow.
Madam, please unmute yourself.
Okay, so that's in an academic setup. The focus is on a long-time horizon. We try to see, but we need to have the end use in mind itself. So that's key for innovation also. Okay, but eventually innovation, of course, we can have an entire day-long workshop on innovation itself. Innovation is about not about how clever your solution is, but how usable is the idea to somebody else, apart from yourself or apart from the organization itself. Okay, so that's where innovation really kicks in. And eventually, design thinking is a problem-solving methodology which needs to be used. So, if design thinking is used and it's predominantly used in the field of innovation, because we see the human aspect to the whole thing. How easy is it to hold a device? How easy is it to learn to use the device? How easy is it to use a service? How easy is it to access a service? All this sort of questions are human related. How might we find a service that is reasonable to put together? Okay, something like that. So all those are human related questions, and all those actually make it usable, make it useful for somebody. And those are all innovation related questions also. In innovation, the primary drive is to make an invention, an idea, into something that's useful for somebody to use. And that's for me, the definition of innovation, which is exactly what design thinking is also using. So it doesn't depend on whether you are in R&D or not.
Sir, you are not audible.
Yes, sir. You are not audible. Hello, sir.
Ramadurai, sir, you are not audible, sir. I think there is a network problem.
Due to poor network, ma'am, sir is not.
Okay. I think there is a network glitch. So I would like to conclude the session. Shall we conclude, Professor Ambadas Deshmukh, sir?
Yes.
Because of this time, because indeed it was a great session and the participants also need a break. So we'll meet again after just a 20 minutes of time, probably 12 p.m., 15 minutes. Okay, bye everyone and see you at 12. Thank you everyone.